The shir is dedicated to Nishmas Rachalea Bas Rav Chaim Tzvi.
Okay, welcome everybody to Shabbos Scenarios. This is the series where we bring Hilchos Shabbos to life. I'd like to just open by acknowledging our host. Our host here is Beis Tefillah Yonah Avram. Don't be bashful. Thank you. Yes. We are in Ramat Beit Shemesh, Israel. We are led by Rabbi Malinowitz, and we're here in a special, not only special place, it's a place near and dear to our hearts. We both were here when it was a tent, when there was a rotation, watching Beryl Thomas erect the tent and then take it down. We used to have to watch him put it together. Now we're in a building, Baruch Hashem, a beautiful building, still in the building process. In this view, you don't see the ceiling, and even if you could, there is no ceiling. But Baruch Hashem, we're in the building process, and very much so in the building process and learning. If you go on btya.org, I believe, you will see all the shiurim that are available. You'll see all the learning that goes on here. It facilitates people who come to Eretz Yisrael, enables them to learn, enables them to grow. And here, we're also at a special time. There's a Yarchei Kala, where people took time out of their schedule, and they set aside 2 weeks to learn intensely with Rabbi Safar. Yeah. Very nice. The sugya, and what is the sugya? Lo and behold, it is a sugya that relates to the halachos of Shabbos. And since we're talking about the building of the shul, where you could log on to the site and donate towards that building, and the building of the learning in the shul, it is in fact the sugya of Boneh, of building on Shabbos. It should come as no surprise to you that it is in fact prohibited to build on Shabbos. That's one of those things that is usher to do. It's one of the lamites malachos. But far be it from me to speak about it. I will instead bring to you now our resident expert in Hilchos Shabbos, Rabbi Shimon Isaacson.
I wasn't sure you were going to give me a chance.
Thank you.
Trying to steal the show. Okay, we're going to be discussing Melechas Boneh. We're not in our usual set, as is clear, and there's a certain aim of being in a shul, but we'll do the best we can to go ahead and bring the topic forward. Now, we're going to be discussing Melechas Boneh today and Melechas Makabe Patish. We're not going to get into, I want to just mention up front, we're not going to get into the topic of ohel, of making tents. That we're not going to get into. We'll cover thoroughly, Bez Hashem, the Melacha of Boneh. Now, when it comes to Melechas Boneh, obviously the source of Melechas Boneh in the Mishkan is, of course, the Mishkan itself, is the construction of the Mishkan itself. And if you take a look at the Gemaras and the Rambams, it seems very clear that the Av Malacha itself requires two basic criteria. Number one, it is composed of kibbutz chalakim. When you take disparate pieces and you bring them together, kibbutz chalakim, that's phase number one. And then it's in order to go ahead and create a structure. That's in general what we assume Melechas Boneh, the Av Malacha, is. And we will see as we go forward today that even if you have one or the other element, that still is going to be Nisr Doraisa. If you go ahead and have kibbutz chalakim, you take disparate pieces, bring them together, even without a structure, that could be Nisr Doraisa. And the Isser of Ohel, when you go ahead and construct a tent or a structure, even without the kibbutz chalakim, that too, if it's permanent, if it's long-lasting, will also be an Isser of Boneh.
Now, Rabbi Isaacson, Jews in general are not known for their construction skills. I personally have done a study. I think maybe 95% don't even know how to change a tire. So, is there a way that you can bring this idea of kibbutz chalakim, bringing together disparate items, or building a tent, into the household context? Because, in fact, I don't get much out of the house, and I'd like to know how it applies more to Hilchos Shabbos for my personal life.
Okay, fair enough. First of all, I just want to share with you a very fascinating Rambam, for example. The Rambam says when you go and make cheese, the making of cheese is a told of Melechas Boneh. Nothing to do with construction whatsoever, but by going ahead and making cheese, how do you do so? You layer upon layer of whatever cheese is made out of,
yes,
and that creates a block. That, says the Rambam, is a tolda of Melechas Boneh, nothing to do with the structure, but that represents that idea of kibbutz chalakim, those taking disparate items and creating this, if you will, block.
So you're saying making cheese. I don't make that much cheese.
No
Maybe
cheese.
Another example?
Kibbutz chalakim.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a step backwards first. Before we get to kibbutz chalakim, which you're getting into vessels and things of that sort, let's talk about any appendage to a structure.
Okay.
If you have a bais,
right,
you have a house, and you want to go ahead and append something to that house, you attach something to that house, so that already, since you are enhancing, you're fixing, you're enhancing, developing a structure, that is going to be Melechas Boneh.
Okay, so an appendage to the house. So you're referring to perhaps a window screen? Zalman, can you show me that window screen? Right over there. This actually brings up something that comes to my house all the time. When I'm in my house on Shabbos, I'm always opening and closing windows, opening and closing sliding doors. What often happens then is the screen portion of window, these windows, by the way, courtesy of Beryl Thomas, aluminum windows and screens, thank you. Okay, they fall off. Not due to him. The tracks are high quality, but they can fall off. The doors sometimes fall off. You understand? And I'm sitting there on Shabbos without a window, without a door. I experience a certain amount of discouragement. And so I wanted to place it back on. Would you say that I could do so on Shabbos?
Absolutely not. When to take a screen that has fallen off and attaching it onto its tracks,
okay,
that's going to be Meleches Boneh. It's there to be permanent. It becomes part of the house itself. It's part of the bias. When you go in and attach something to the bias itself, that's going to be Meleches Boneh. I just want to contrast that, however. There is no issue, of course, of opening and closing windows. Opening and closing doors, since that's already, the house is complete.